You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
Welcome everyone to Cult of Campbell. I'm Ty.
I'm Bad.
I'm Bailey.
I'm Eric.
And it is Cultober here on Cult Talk Net. And it is the final October episode for Cult of Campbell. Today is Halloween.
This is our
Halloween 2022 is here.
Oh man, we got to put out something good on this day too.
Beetlejuice comes out. Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay,
today,
so
yeah.
Oh
So-
man, that'd have been some bad
Saving
fucking
grace.
karma right there.
So yeah, we hurt you and then we healed you.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
welcome.
You guys must have had a much worse opinion of this movie than I did.
My God,
We'll have to see.
I've
We'll have
got,
to see.
I've got questions.
There's a lot of questions I have. I have a big question that's going to really question why we're even doing it on this show, but I'll talk about it when we get to it. But
God.
yeah, this we are doing today. It's Halloween, so we got to do something cool. So what's more Halloween than vampires?
These vampires, these particular vampires are.
We're doing a movie I had never heard of until very recently. This is 1989.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1989's Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat. Which I don't know what the Vampire in Retreat means.
What? Yeah, like Vampire on Retreat might make sense because it's like this is like a summer home for. I mean, God damn it.
Or like two N's. You know, INN.
Okay, sure. Yeah, if you wanted to play on the spelling,
That-
to be
That
like
would have made more sense than the IN. Like when I heard it mentioned on a podcast, a movie review. I remember watching a movie review where they was just like naming off all these like weird vampire movies in the 80s, and that's the first time I heard of this. I assumed that's what it was.
So I bet that just like the rest of this movie, how this movie feels is that the title was probably written by 8 different people. Some guy went Sundown. They're like, we like it. And the other guy's like, well, it has a vampire in it. We'll take that too. And then another guy came along and said, well, you got to stick a "the" in there for it to make sense. And they go, okay. And this guy's like, are they going in someplace? And they're like, yeah. And then another guy comes along and goes, I'm fucking out of here. And they're like, retreat. We like it. And that's how they came across the title. And that's probably how they writ this fucking script.
Man, this movie does have a lot in it.
God
there's a lot of arcs.
That is
And a lot of the arcs are like, what the fuck was this even in here for?
Why did we even have this?
Yeah.
This movie goes like Blazing Saddles, and then it goes Gone with the Wind, and then it takes some random horror movie tropes like Psycho and stuff like that, and it just blends them all together at random points.
Yeah.
And then like action adventure.
Yeah, and then Indiana Jones style stuff.
And then slapstick. Yeah.
I think before we get deep into it, I mean, we gotta save some of this for the episode. I think
call out the mother.
I'm trying not to like say anything yet because I want to like talk about it in the meat of the episode. But like, I think we should talk about like you're talking about the writers who wrote this movie, Eric.
Okay, so it was written by John Burgess, Anthony Hickox,
Who's also the director.
director, and others, I believe.
Yes, and if you look at the IMDb page, I will pull it up right fucking now.
Got it.
Yep, right there. Sundown Vampires in Retreat with one N for some fucked up reason. Written John Burgess, Anthony Hickox, and others.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
And it shows through.
It is also starring David Carradine.
Yeah, the cast in this is
No.
this the real shining thing of it is the cast in this.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of people you immediately recognize.
It does. I was floored by the amount of names of people that were in this that I recognized.
Yeah. Maxwell Caulfield, Morgan Brittany, of course, Bruce Campbell, Jim Metzler, John Ireland, Deborah Foreman, and M. Emmett Walsh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. It's a stacked cast. There's a lot of people in it too. Like even they're like people you'll recognize from just being in movies. That guy kind of people.
That guy kind of people.
Yep.
Yeah, like that guy.
Sunshine Parker.
He's
Dabs Greer is another one that I know.
Yeah.
So
I think the one I recognize right off the bat when he came on was Buck Flower. He played Bailey. He was like the one vampire who like immediately betrayed the other ones.
Uh-huh.
The kind of like fat older guy.
Uh-huh.
He is in a lot of the movies I like. He most people probably know him as the hobo from They Live, who like also does the same exact thing in this movie, where he immediately betrays the humans at the at the first chance. And his filmography is great because there's only one real kind of character he can play, and it shows when you start going through his filmography, because most of his characters you'll find that he plays are drunk. You see a lot. You see bum, tramp, janitor, old man, drifter, old man, drunk, red the bum, redneck, wino,
just
script bum,
stock
hobo,
characters.
rich tramp,
Rich tramp.
Rich tramp.
It's gonna be me one day.
tramp,
Okay, that one is a little
window
bad.
washer, homeless man, drunken man, window washer man. So there's a very he's a character actor.
He's
is what
got
I'm trying
two
to say.
notes.
He's
Working
a character
fella
actor.
and not working fella.
Yeah, he there's a very certain kind of role he plays.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was cool to see him. I always like seeing him in things because They Live was like one of my favorite movies growing up. So I always remember him as like the asshole in that movie. Now it also has another actor you guys probably don't know, but I'm very fond of.
Oh.
And his name is Dana Ashbrook. Now he plays one of the those two young people that are just there
Camping.
for whatever that
then
subplot
sit in
that
the cell.
did a lot for the story.
And then join the revolution.
Yeah.
Those guys.
He's the guy in that.
Oh.
He's been in things like he was in Twin Peaks, which most people know him from.
Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead. Yeah, he was in there.
Did he get better?
What's that?
Did he get better?
He kind of, yeah. Because I mean, he was in like a lot of things in the like early 2000s. But what I know him most as is he played the character Dwight Stoddard, who is a American baseball player who retired and then had to run guns in Bulgaria in the television film Python 2.
Why?
Why did I know it was from Python 2? All I saw was the cover, and I'm like, this is what Tyler's going to say.
That's exactly when I seen him on screen. I was like, that's the guy from Python 2. I knew it immediately. I was like,
no, it's not even like the guy.
That's the guy from Python 2. Like,
he was the guy who was doing this because of this backstory, and then that, and then Doom, and the guy in Python 2 who probably had like, if I'm willing to bet, maybe 20 minutes, 5 minutes.
He was the star of the movie.
He was the star.
Thank you very much. He was the star of the movie. He kills the python at the end by making a baseball out of C4 and pitching it into the python's mouth.
Shut up.
I don't think anyone cares.
That's how that. So he's in it quite a bit. But we're not here to talk about Python 2, of course.
No, but I want to shot. So since you got to pick one, I'll do one. I know Dabs Greer. He's
Dabs Greer. Okay, and he's in this.
Yeah, he. Most people probably will remember him by face only, but he played the old Tom Hanks in Green Mile.
Okay,
yeah.
But I'm looking at his filmography because there's a couple of films I remember him from. Little Giants being one of the ones that I remember him from, and he was actually in Con Air as well.
No kidding.
He was the guy hiding under the truck.
Oh,
nice. That's a cool one.
So
and we did mention Emmett Walsh, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't think we were on recording for that. So Emmett Walsh, of course, is the preeminent in the that guy category for this movie.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Dude's been in everything. Blade Runner, The Jerk, Critters.
But yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. Like he's one of those guys you see and you immediately your brain will click into 15 different movies you've seen him in. Christmas with the Cranks, he was in that.
He
was the grouchy old man. Christmas with the Cranks.
Oh, that's right. He was the neighbor whose wife was dying of cancer.
Yep.
Well, maybe not dying, but like sick.
I do. Good Lord.
I watched that movie
I always
on
have
loop.
a mind for those that guy actors. I don't know, they always resonate with me. But yeah, this is the cast we have here in Sundown, and I'm sure that with all these actors being as well known as they are used in very important manner in this movie.
Yes.
It was 3 movies in one. How else could you use them?
All of these different story arcs have a purpose, and they have a very defined arc that all comes together in a conclusion.
Yeah, they arc off into outer space, never to be seen again.
let's talk about it here on our next segment. Let's go ahead and it's been a while since we've this is the return of Cult of Campbell, and all of us are coming back together. This is we did Terminal Invasion the other day or last week. So Ben, what do we do at this point? You're gonna send us off to our next segment.
Let's get into it.
You asshole.
Grab your boomstick and fire up the Delta. It's time for ACTION. Join the Cult of Campbell. Groovy.
And if you're lucky a little later, I'll let you play with my boomstick.
Let's get groovy. There we go. So Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat, is a movie that I have never heard of.
Most people haven't.
It seemed like a movie I probably should have heard of, though. I mean, I didn't hate it. I'm going to say, like, I didn't hate it.
Of course you did.
I didn't necessarily enjoy it. It's not going to be a movie I'm going to watch a lot. I mean, I own it on this. I got the Blu-ray for only $10, so I was pretty pleased with that. And it's a pretty nice Blu-ray. It's digitally restored.
What was the
Someone gave up. They're like $10. Anybody?
Hey, check it out. Was that somebody's like pandemic project where they were like, man, I
don't know. It was Vestron Video is who put this out originally. Sundown. Vestron Video was a VHS home video company in the 80s who kind of like specialized in these monster schlocky horror movies. And somebody bought the library very recently, like a few years ago. Someone bought the entire Vestron Video library, and they've been putting them out like every quarter. They'll release like 2 or 3 of these overhauled, digitally remastered Blu-rays with tons of features and shiny new packaging and painted covers. All this they've been doing it for a while.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah,
I've got this. I got from the same collection. I have this one, and then I have Little Monsters. The one movie with Howie Mandel. Yeah. I got that, and that was the same collection.
Let that be a lesson to the listeners. No matter how bad the movie is, there is no reason not to make money off of it.
Oh yeah.
Once it's made, you could peddle that thing for fucking pennies if you want.
You can, yeah. That's kind of a thing too. Is you look now, there's all kinds of companies that do this. There's
what about
Shout Factory.
What about the long-term, ongoing, systemic damage done to our culture by keeping this shit afloat?
That's
I think they're doing
outside of the scope of what I was commenting on.
I think they're doing a service because I think every movie deserves to live on forever. I mean,
we at least should know who to blame for it.
No, not every movie.
But like this a trend because there's also a company called Snaps Video. That's the same basic business structure. They buy just these old VHS home media companies that have went out of business. They'll purchase their libraries. And they're kind of they pick and choose when they release. There's a company called Vinegar Syndrome that does they do really shot on home video movies from the 80s and 90s. They'll buy and fully restore and put out for whatever reason. Wow. I've seen some of this that they release. I'm like, why would you even put this out on video? First of all,
it's like an antique store of movies.
Yeah, Shout Factory does it. Shout Factory's the big company that does it. They kind of kicked off everything with this business model. They kind of kicked off the idea of taking old movies and restoring them, packing them with features, and putting them out. So yeah, it's a thing. I'm sure Jelly will end up purchased by one of these companies at some point in the future.
If they do that, will you make a Jelly too?
I've been pitching Jelly 2 for years. I already have the story and everything.
He's shaking his head at me.
I pitched doing a remastered version for the channel. Remastering it, doing a making of documentary, a commentary track. Nobody wants to do it. So
I want to do it now.
If you want to see that shit,
some people. Leave a comment if you want to see.
Leave a comment if you want us to go through that.
If you want us to.
Yeah, if you want to see a movie starring Cult Talk Net's Eric Zanny, written by Cult Talk Net's Ty Alexander, edited by Cult Talk Net's Michael Henney and directed by Cult Talk Net's Ursa Irvin. Who would not want to see that? I think if you're a fan of our channel, you'd want to see that. So let us
It's
know.
actually really amazing. It's actually really well put together.
Oh,
The transitions are really good.
It's a masterpiece.
We're entertainers. We're already basically whores.
It's my it's my magnum opus.
We already know what scene everybody's going to be.
Yep.
Yep.
We'll leave that.
Eric
for them
ran
to
people out of the
discover.
theater. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's how you know your acting is spot on.
Yep.
Oh yeah. But let's talk about Sundown,
Yep.
which also has some spot on acting
Some
in it.
spot
You
on
can-
acting.
if you can say anything,
they act
it
in
has
some
great-
spots and not in others.
So I thought this movie was going to be a Western.
It
thought
kind of
it was a
is.
I thought this movie would be one movie.
Yeah, well,
This
you would be
had-
wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
this
I
That's a bold assumption there.
so
I know.
I was way off. I actually thought this was going to be a play off the town that dreaded Sundown.
No, that's a
Not
vastly
that.
superior film.
Yeah.
I was way off. I had way higher expectations.
I actually
So like when
both
the
first
opening
acting.
credits hit, and it has that like animation and like the music, I thought for sure this was going to be like a a Western. Is
Straight
what I
up,
thought.
like spaghetti
And also like the
Western
the
vampires.
video I have, or the Blu-ray I have, the cover of it looks like a Western. I mean,
Right.
everyone's dressed in Westerny stuff, and there's a horse and stuff in it. I mean, it looks like a Western, and that's why I assumed you were getting. But
Yeah.
so the backstory of this movie, or the story of it,
Ah.
is that all the vampires have decided to coexist with humans,
Yes.
Right.
and this
Time for
the
them to get
savior
modern.
of the vampires, Count Margulac.
Modulac.
Yeah,
There's an O in there.
Margulac.
Margulac.
It's
Margulac.
spelled Mardulak.
Mardulac.
Margulac.
What do you call that? It's a
Bad name.
No, where you rearrange the letters.
Oh,
see,
yeah.
I thought that too. But where's the M come from? Because I was thinking that too at the end.
Ah.
But I don't know.
Got me
'Cause, I
there.
mean, it makes sense
Oh, maybe
aside
if you-
from the M. That's the only thing
Well,
that doesn't
so
make sense.
they might have started off with that and then figured out they didn't know how to spell, because that wouldn't be the first thing that they did in this movie where they're like, "Hey, we're doing this." Oh, we don't.
or
we didn't
maybe
remember.
the M. Maybe the M is
Don't try to make it make sense.
maybe the M. You flip it upside down, it looks like vampire teeth.
Shut up! Oh my god. Jesus.
And that's the deeper meaning of the
Living on the
M.
edge.
The fucking straws, though.
I can't believe I beat Eric to that one. That
That was great. That was the movie that I liked. That was the movie that I liked. That's what this should have been. Just a goddamn slapstick. And it would have been
Yeah.
great. It would have been great.
So
Would be
all the vampires, this Margulac guy, he convinced all the vampires they got coexist with humans.
Count
Um,
margarine.
Count Margulac,
Margarine.
who you'll never guess who he really is.
Oh, no.
the twist, the end.
Yeah, crazy.
It's a screamer, baby.
It's a
I mean, it's-
screamer.
It'll get you.
Oh,
Just
didn't
don't
see it
don't
coming.
don't bother waste your time trying to guess, because I guarantee you're not gonna get it.
You won't figure
So-
it out.
Oh, you'll get it. You just won't want it.
He convinces all the vampires are going to move out to this little town in the west called Purgatory, and they are going to find viable sources of sustenance aside from humans. They're no longer afraid of the sun due to
Sunscreen.
sunscreen,
and
SPF
umbrellas.
100,
SPF 100
SPF 100.
and hats that
They
don't
walk
cover their
around.
face.
Don't cover their face. Yeah, that was something I kept noticing.
Yeah, with their
They-
faces, their noses and mouths would like be coated in sunlight, and then they're like, "No, we need shade." You're like, "Oh,
But
Yeah, just in case the sunblock wears off. So they all move out to Purgatory. This is where they're all the vampires live, and they're just trying to live a peaceful coexistence. And Purgatory itself is written off of maps. So I don't know if there's also like a larger. It was just something popped in my head. I was like, is this like something the government knows about?
You are
they're-
not pulling this into Cult Talks conspiracy.
I mean, I was thinking like, if it's written off of maps, but it's there. I mean, there has to be some sort of inner working there. Maybe I'm just thinking way too much into it.
Yeah.
You are definitely thinking way too
I'm
much.
putting a lot of thought into
Yeah, I
it.
think it's just more it became a ghost town because a lot of times ghost towns will go off the map, won't it? Well, in later editions as people forget about it.
I guess.
Well, who was
Now I'm
delivering the supplies? Who was filling this petrol station?
Why are you? What are you doing?
I don't know.
You've officially
I'm
given this more thought than the actual writers, Ty.
I'm asking questions.
Well, you ain't gonna get no goddamn answers.
I know. And sadly, because this movie, all in all, I will say, had potential. I will say, like, when that movie first started, like, it was kind of like as the movie went on, I got less enthused by it.
Right. Yeah.
But I really enjoyed everything it put out at the beginning. I liked the idea of all these vampires trying to coexist. I thought some of the stuff they did was clever. I thought it was very fun.
Yeah.
And as the movie went on, it kind of lost steam.
When it decided to be the fun movie, it was fun.
Yeah, like the beginning. So it opens at this gas station that's like roadside. Route 66. It's all shot in Moab is where this thing was shot, which Eric, you've been to Moab.
Yep. I
So
traveled to
you've
Moab
actually
with
been
Mike
there.
Larissa. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this Route 66, kind of desert town vibe to it. And it's a really cool setting. Everything's really nice and neat looking. It all has this like very vintage look to it.
Yeah.
There's this gas station that's run by ZZ Top. And
No kidding, Jesus.
And randomly some douchebag in a Jeep rolls up
Just
and
huffing
just
mountain
being a
of
douche.
powder.
Oh, yeah.
Being an asshole.
No,
got like a
okay.
little cup.
No. I'm gonna have to come to this guy's defense. It is a service gas station, and I mean, it took them forever. They took it. They were literally all three of them were just sitting there staring at him. It's like, if this is a service gas station, why are you guys just sitting there?
Listen,
Which they do argue amongst themselves briefly of like whose idea was it to make this a service only gas station? Like they kind of bicker about it, but
you can't. Your dialogue, your movie is so bad that your dialogue is critiquing the very situation that you have your actors in. You're like, this don't make any damn sense. And your dialogue's like, I agree.
Yeah.
We're gonna put it on film.
So they argue, and this is where you kind of get the first little bit they have. So the guy is nearing town. Emmett Walsh is the one who has to go serve the guy. But first he runs inside and he dials a number, and it basically alerts the town if there's a human.
See, now that was clever.
Nearby.
Yeah.
But you don't have. You can just stay inside and just run the cash register inside the store and do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So he runs out, and the guy is like being just
He's being
mildly. I know we called him an asshole, but he's not even being like that aggressive. Like,
No, he's just and they aren't taking forever.
Being smarmy. He's being a little smarmy. He's just being kind of a little bit of a city folk or whatever.
But old Emmett can't keep his shit together.
Yeah, Emmett Walsh decides to knock his block off.
Literally.
And punches him and beheads him. And
just backhands him.
Yeah, and unfortunately, two buddies, two friends of this guy see this happen.
Right. They're like, I was so confused. I'm like, were they with him?
And they just kind of in throwaway dialogue at some point was like, our friend. So it's like they must have been.
Because at first I thought they were just people that were like homeless that were.
Yeah, but they had a tent. They were camping.
Homeless people have tents, Eric.
I was wondering too. So they send their friend get gas. Why were they watching him on?
That's why I was curious. I was like, what the fuck is this setup?
Yeah, and you know what? Why was he driving around without them doing all of the drugs? He wasn't, you know what I mean?
And he did a lot.
Yeah,
like when he hit that cocaine, that was a fuck.
That's a bad friend.
Maybe
he had like a bread bag full of cocaine.
What?
Maybe they were fucking and he got mad. He was like, fuck it, I'm going to have all the cocaine.
I thought I was going to get the girl.
You can't have the girl and the coke, Roger.
Now I got to do this whole bread sack
just
full of cocaine.
I mean, like he full on Scarface. He's like snorting it by the pound. I'm like, easy there, Chachi, you're going to die.
So really?
And after all that, he was surprisingly calm during his interactions.
See, now there's a missed opportunity. I'd like to see what would have happened if the vampires fed off of him after he snorted that cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been great.
Crack vampires.
Oh, yes. That would have been
So
great.
he beheads him. They have to then
Punches his head right the fuck off.
Yeah, the other two brothers have to hide the body, and they unfortunately have to turn their brother in to the authorities of purgatory.
Oh my god, I'm gonna jump ahead, but when they finally like sentence him for this, and like, well, since it's just simple murder and you didn't actually drink from him, it's fine. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
they have a very strict the biggest crime you can have in this city, in this town, is to drink blood, because they're trying to basically make a synthetic protein that you can use
out of plants.
Out of plants.
Because, you know, plants are known for their protein and iron.
And it is such a great spot to grow plants.
Yep, in the desert.
Oh, yeah. I did like this. I like the straw bit they kept using.
That was great. They had dual straws.
Oh my god.
Dual ends that they sink their fangs into.
Oh.
It was fucking hilarious. Ben was so exasperated. He just, while they're sipping away at their drinks, trying it out, Ben's just like, do they have dual straws? Because of their fangs. And I'm just like, yes, they do.
It was
I like that bit.
Like I might be on if the whole movie was like this, then it would strike me very much as like a Blazing Saddles.
Yes,
that's what I mean. Like the movie loses, like it starts out like so cool. I texted you guys on the group message, like it was like Sundown is really fun.
Tyler, we don't pay attention when you send that shit. We know we can't rely on your
I messaged that like I was like 20 minutes in the movie, so I was like, man, this is a really good movie. And I was like, I'm gonna let him know this is pretty good.
I knew that wasn't a full formed opinion.
I don't trust his full formed opinion.
Oh boy. Okay, so we have a lot of ground to cover.
So this
it's like watching the movie. When will it end?
I know.
This protein drink is really kind of the catalyst for the whole story. This protein drink is being developed in an underground lab that we never really see at a factory. They call it a factory, but we never see the factory.
Fuck
I don't think, right?
It's got like it looks like they borrowed the set from Man with the Screaming Brain through part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like this is what a lab looks like, right? You're like, no.
Yeah. So they have this protein. They have a machine that is converted as, I guess, doing the protein extraction or whatever.
Yeah.
And this introduces us to our human characters, aside from the two human characters we have that saw the Frank get murdered.
Yeah.
Who do play an integral part in this whole movie.
Oh, yes.
Just as every character does.
I was gonna say there's literally like 1,000 main characters in this.
There really is. It gets another bit I like too, in the small town, there's a diner that just serves up recooked food because it's all moldy and it's just for show. It's just for the patrons to sit in front of.
I know, like guys, do you think when the patrons come into the diner and they're walking past the people that are sitting there and they realize that they're sitting next to moldy food, do you think that's going to look suspicious?
Yeah. And what happens when they ask for food?
Right.
Fresh out.
I guess. Yeah. Sorry.
Food.
We served up the last mold burger. I'm sorry.
Sorry. You'll have to wait for more.
No, they take their order and go to fix it.
That's true. They do. So they do. Yeah.
It's got to be like the worst cup of coffee that.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
The maker of this machine that does the protein extraction is our human characters. What's his name?
David?
David. Yeah. David. He has a wife and 2 daughters. The one daughter is curiously obsessed with vampires.
Oh,
in this vampire movie?
Whoa.
Who would have
like
what?
You could have at least made it the older daughter, and that would have made more sense, right? Because she's kind of like almost teenage, so she's getting into the horror stuff because her parents don't want her to.
Right, but even the dad's like, she's like really obsessed with vampires, and the mom's like, she just really into this. And he's like, well, she couldn't get it if you didn't buy it for her. Like, she's like 6. Like she's not going out buying it. She's not sneaking out at night and buying shit Hot Topic.
Once again, the dialogue is commenting on the story. Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yep.
That's just efficient. It's beating you to the punch.
It's critiquing itself before you get a chance to.
Yeah.
Note to the writers going, I said I was stupid is not a defense.
Thought you had this, didn't you? Nope, we already know it's dumb.
Yeah, you're not Eminem. You can't own it.
They are just so happen this weekend, they are going to get called. They have to go to purgatory because purgatory's having issues with the machine.
Right.
And I didn't know whether or not these people were vampires, if they knew about vampires, what the deal was. Like, I didn't know. I did not understand what their take on the vampires were.
Right.
David has a throwaway line that felt really ham-fisted, where he's like, seeing all the vampire stuff. He's like, oh, I can't wait to get away from all this horror nonsense, and she can go to purgatory and meet nice, normal people. And I was like, somebody thought that was clever.
Yeah.
And good on them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. They're real proud of purgatory. It's where whatever. Fuck them. Never mind.
So, and coincidentally, in this town, what's David's wife's name?
Sarah?
Sarah,
who's David's wife, and these two characters are supposed to be our main characters? Question mark.
Are they?
Question mark. Big question mark. They were the stars of the romantic thriller movie.
Yeah,
That they
the
wanted
very
to show.
subpar romantic thriller movie.
God. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That scene in the field was pretty convincing.
Jesus. Do you know what he's
yeah.
talking about? That was
Listen.
ridiculously melodramatic.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
I'm sorry.
So they go to they're going to purgatory, and just so happens Sarah's old flame.
Yep.
Name Shane. Shane, right?
Shane?
I think it's Shane.
I just called him Bat Boy for the
Shane
rest of
Dennis. Maxwell Caulfield. Yeah, Shane.
Shane is Sarah's old flame, who she had a thing with in college, and she turned him down for David, and he's very bitter, but he just so happens to be the head of a factory that needs the same machine
Right.
that her husband patented.
Have patented. So.
Did he patent? See, this movie just fucked me up so much trying to follow just where the timeline was going that I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what his connection to this goddamn place was until about midway through the movie.
Yeah, he patented the machine that they were having issues with. I'm trying my best here to keep up. But I know this stuff's factual.
Yeah.
So that's why he's getting sent to the town. That's why he's been called there, is because he has to fix his machine.
Right.
Which he, is convinced is not messed up, and it's in fact an issue with whoever assembled it,
Right.
i.e. Shane.
Right.
Of course.
So that's our conflict there.
Yeah.
Now this all is going on. The plot lines we have going on right now. We'll count them up real quick here.
Yes.
We have
the families.
old man kills human.
Yep.
Yep.
Old man kills human. Has to deal with those
Friends see old man kill human.
So now they're Scooby doing this shit.
Yep. Friends go into town to report the murder.
Right. And that's
Get
where
put in jail with the man who kills their friend.
Yeah. And that's where they sit for a good long.
That's where they sit for a long while until miraculously they their arc thickens at a certain point. So that's going on. That's going on. Also, we have all the subtext of purgatory going on with these vampires doing their human charade. We have Shane and what was the old man?
Oh,
it's a very plain name.
The Mennonite.
I remember.
Dude?
Yeah, the Mennonite looking guy.
Like Edward, or
was it John Ireland? Was that him?
Maybe.
No, wait. Oh, that's the actor, Ethan Jefferson.
Yeah, Ethan. I was like, he didn't look like an Ethan, but yeah, Shane and Ethan making their protein drink while also like being nefarious about it.
Yeah.
You have the plain white human family who have to go to town to fix the machine that's having issues, which is the only thing keeping the vampires from feeding on humans.
Yep.
And then amongst all this, this is probably only the first act.
That is the first act. We don't.
Yeah.
Yep. I know what you're getting at, and it doesn't happen until after the first act.
Yeah.
Let's get there.
The reason we're watching this movie,
yeah, you may
is
have
because
forgotten
Bruce Campbell is in this at some point.
Did you know that, listener?
You might not have. And if you watch the movie, you're probably, there are certain points where you
might not have made it that far.
There's certain points in the movie where he's been introduced, and it'll cut back to him, and I'm like, oh, Bruce is in this.
Yeah,
Bruce
Bruce is in this.
Bruce Campbell's in this movie because he, of course, this is a character that obviously you need in this movie,
Right.
Because just look at the lore of vampires. You think of vampires, you think of the Van Helsing family,
Right. Of course.
and Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, for all the difference that made to his fucking character.
Oh, of all the difference,
For
man!
real.
This is where the movie really takes a strong turn story wise. Is Bruce Campbell plays Robert Van Helsing, a vampire hunter
Yep.
of the Van Helsing bloodline,
Yeah.
He's such
great
a-
grandfather of the Van Helsing.
D. Van Helsing.
How many? He's got as many patterns on as there are plot points in this movie.
Mhm. Yeah, and his character serves the movie zero. Like it has zero effect on the entire plot. of the
No,
movie.
no.
No.
The only character that is more pointless in a movie that has as much screen time as him is Indiana Jones in the first movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say his character has about as much to do with this movie as those two random humans, the two human couple.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is
Yeah.
a shame because he's got the best premise, in my opinion. Like the
it was
inept descendant of like this legendary hero.
that should have been the movie.
right. That would have.
That should have been the movie. This inept
living up to
Van
the-
Helsing,
Yeah.
who is pushed into his family legacy,
Yep.
has to fulfill it against like a much more powerful
Right.
Marjolac,
Yeah.
and that should have been the movie.
And
That
the
should
return of like that old confrontation, like, oh, your family has met me before, like should have been so good. But fuck it, scrap all
iconic
of
showdown
that.
of Marjolac and Van Helsing that we the iconic vampire showdown.
Yeah,
The
in a
that should have
Western.
just been the movie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
should have been,
Should have.
should have. We don't get any of that.
It got lost somewhere
No.
along the way.
It
I don't
get,
even know
it
if
gets
they have
buried because his character, anytime he's on screen, it's pretty fun. I mean, the little bits he does are great. I mean, I like that he's inept.
Yeah,
He does great as far as like the cartoony shit that we know Bruce for,
Mhm.
yeah.
but it's like you forget he's even in this movie most of the time.
I would have made him the if he would have been like the husband in the family, the scientist there to fix up the machine, you would have tightened this plot up by a lot.
Yeah,
And then he's going through and then make that character the Bruce Campbell, like quirky character, figuring this
Yeah.
shit out as he goes, That
quirky, dad,
would've- yeah,
you know,
kind of, yeah.
scientist guy. Yeah, that'd been perfectly serviceable.
Yeah, I promise I
There's-
won't spend this whole podcast saying what should have been, but
Yeah, because there's
there's a
what
lot
should have
of
been
missed
there should have been
opportunity.
a cut of about a third of the cast.
Oh my god, yeah,
Two-
yeah,
2/3 of the cast maybe,
absolutely.
because there are characters that just do not
Unnecessary.
make any sense.
The
to why
cast
they're-
list on Wikipedia is ridiculous.
Oh god.
Yeah.
It's nuts. This is stupid.
So that's our plots we have just in like the first act of the movie, and Bruce shows up and
Yep.
he's looking for purgatory and ends up walking there. He
it's like-
stumbles into town. He notices something's off. They serve him one of those like a shitty coffee, which I think he remarks about how bad it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because he only takes a couple drinks, and for whatever reason, the waitress is just enamored by him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
She asks. He asks like shows her a picture of Marjolac, asks where he's at, and she's like, "Oh no, and he writes him a note, tells him to meet her later.
Yep.
And a plot we forgot about in the first act
Who
there.
cares?
Fucking Ethan is flying around outside of Purgatory
Wait,
and just turning random people into vampires.
oh, that's right. The
Oh,
yeah.
Vampire Rebellion.
Yeah, that's we
brilliant.
forgot that's supposed to be one of the big parts of the movie. We
Yeah.
forgot all about it.
Well, they're all big parts. This movie has like 5 endings between 9 different characters to 6 plot points started in 2 movies by 8 different people.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's like
Very
3
well put.
decent movies buried in this mess.
right.
That they didn't like,
They tried to do them all.
the vampire Civil War was interesting
Yeah.
if it had been expanded on.
Yeah.
The bumbling Van Helsing versus Dracula subplot would have been great
Right.
as a fun little comedy. And I think those would have been perfectly fine.
Those would've been
Those two out of there would have been
Or like the quirky slapstick comedy of vampires trying to like hide in society.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
blend in.
that,
Like,
yeah.
Or that. Yeah.
Those are 3 great concepts for standalone movies.
Yep.
that they decided, well, fuck it, put in one movie.
Like, can you imagine if they would have done?
Why make 3 when you can make one?
Make one movie.
Can you imagine if they had taken Bruce and had him play that Van Helsing character, like razor serious, and he's looking for a vampire, but doesn't realize he stumbled into a town full of them. Meanwhile, the entire town is trying to play nice and normal because A, they don't want to kill this guy, and B, he's a Van Helsing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
That would have been
And
good.
you'd had the cool little moment where he realizes how outnumbered he is.
Yeah.
Right, like you basically play him like Zap Brannigan from Futurama.
Yes. Oh, that would have been great.
Like realizing he suddenly just stumbled into a fucking hornet's nest
Oh,
of
the
vampires.
moment-
Oh shit.
The moment it all sinks in could have just been played
God.
out so much.
Yeah.
Just like,
Man.
oh, the
Yeah.
food's moldy. Say.
Sundown reimagining in Bulgaria.
Yep. Sundown
Mm.
reimagining in Bulgaria.
No, we're doing it in you know what? That's one you can get me on, but we're doing it in Moab.
All right.
Yeah.
Moab it is.
I say we don't need to. We've changed the plot enough where it doesn't need to have any ties to Sundown. We just make a fun vampire movie in
Right.
the desert.
They'll tell us we based it off of True Blood anyway.
Yeah. So there are like interesting things in this movie that they just unfortunately bury underneath all it. Because like if I don't even want to go through this whole movie. Let's give the beats.
I was say, please don't.
Yeah, either
Like,
that
I
or
was
we
like,
could run through
so
each
we
plot,
have
right?
like all this
So,
shit
yeah.
with Shane being obsessed with Sarah. They don't know he's a vampire.
Oh my god! Except for the kids see him like flying naked on top of their mama, and they're like, "It was a dream," and the kid's like, "Okay, it was a dream." I'm like,
and she somehow doesn't.
She just sees the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the bats. Are pretty.
yeah. Stop motion bats.
The bats were the
stop-motion
only.
bats, which
the-
I liked.
Yeah, that
Gotta
was actually
respect
cool.
That. Gotta
Yes.
respect that. Yeah.
If you like that old school like claymation stuff, this has got that in it. And I kind of like that shit when you see it because it's a lot better than that like shitty polished CGI. Sometimes I like seeing the
Yeah,
the
another
corpse.
movie that does
Yeah.
kind of this kind of real life integration with it is The Golden Child.
Yeah.
with the demon at the end.
Oh,
It's a lot
Yeah,
like
another movie that does that pretty well is Beetlejuice, which came out today on Cult Talk Net podcast outlets.
Check that one out next if you haven't
Yeah.
already.
It may,
Yay!
probably cue that up right along right after this or before. Or stop
Yeah.
listen to this. Go listen to that. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Not telling you what to do. By all means, like and subscribe.
Share and
Um,
bell icon.
share.
So back to this slog.
Yeah, so there's all this shit because also we find that the little girl and the family is obsessed with vampires. We've established that,
Yep.
and then comes the shocking reveal here later on in the movie.
Scandalous.
We have Shane who we know had a thing for Sarah.
Yep.
Sarah left him for David.
Yep.
Well, it turns out after David and Sarah married, she had a moment of infidelity.
Yep. He was
And
away at
fucked
medical
Shane.
school. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she fucked Shane.
He was
and,
out
and we
getting an education for her and
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
child,
Yep.
and she was
Fucking
just getting freaky.
selfish bastard.
Yep.
And then we get the heartbreaking dramatic scene where he confronts her and he says, "Is the
It got-
little blonde girl my daughter?" And she goes, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
She says the worst thing. She is like, "I don't know. I don't think so." And I'm like, "What the fuck, bitch?"
And then, but that leads them to have their Gone with the Wind moment out in the field with hay bales that are really nicely stacked for sitting.
It looks
Yeah.
like a family photo
Yeah,
shoot.
it
Yeah.
And the wind is just blowing.
And she's got that dress on that's coming off of her shoulders.
It looked like God, what's that?
Oh my
Something
God.
prairie TV series.
Little House on the
Little House
Prairie.
on the
House on the
Prairie.
Prairie. It was so melodramatic. The music.
So bad.
Oh,
So bad.
oh
It
my
was terrible.
God.
Well, I mean, it opens up. That scene opens up. It's like a cold shot. Like it's
Yeah.
a zero transitional.
Well,
it
when
wakes
it
you
goes
right
to
up.
the next scene, it's so jarring. It's like da da da, boom, and the next scene, and it's just,
Yeah, and
the
they-
music changes, the
completely
scene changes,
different
the coloring
storyline.
changes.
And it's like not even meant for slapstick because even the music is telling you like this is dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drama.
Yeah. You gotta drive it home.
They thought they had the juice, but this thing was dry as a fucking bone. Ugh.
they didn't have juice; they had sludge.
Yeah, they got a protein slushy. Now there's also we talked about the waitress and Bruce, aka Robert Van Helsing, having a thing, and that is just sped up. They're just like she likes him, she falls for him. Apparently, she is the youngest vampire in the town.
6 months. 6 months, if I remember.
6 months. Okay. She is, but they keep saying that Shane was the last one to be turned.
Huh.
So I assume that happened. She must have got turned before him. So she must be older than Shane. Because Shane, we find out Shane's backstory is he was brought to the town to produce the protein shake thing. He uncovered that they were vampires, freaked out. So Count Margulac, who at this point we've discovered is played by David Carradine.
Which everybody's just like, why?
This movie did not deserve him.
There's
no.
Yeah, no.
What else is he going to do? I mean,
anything else? Literally anything else.
Just hang around or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah.
Or don't do any. There's nothing wrong with taking some time off.
Oh, Ty, I just got it, you bastard. Oh, that took a second.
I know. Oh yeah, I breezed right past that motherfucker. I went touch, and you loop back to it.
It's because I was in shock.
I don't know what's happening.
I will explain to you in a bumper.
Yeah, we'll explain it to you off air. But anyway, it's probably took you that long, Eric. But anyway, we find out that David Carradine plays Margulac, and he gave Ethan permission to turn Shane because they really needed him to get this project off the ground. So it's kind of like one of those lesser evil kind of things, I guess. You know, he had to do it for the good of the town, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So, and another scene I did like is that means that Ethan is the last vampire in purgatory who is fed on human blood.
He's also the
Actual
weakest.
blood. Yes, for whatever reason.
Because they're like, the older you get, the stronger you are. Which is funny because then you have these really old actors that can't really move all so well, but they apparently can just walk face first through a brick wall.
They're fucking Superman. But the scene I really liked was because we know at this point that Ethan and Shane are working together to create this vampire civil war. They've been building this army. Well, they know, like Ben mentioned, that people who have just been turned into vampires are much weaker than older vampires. So he knows that he needs to get some of the townspeople on his side. So he does that by going to the diner, and he kind of like seduces these vampires. Like, you know, he starts talking to them about, oh, haven't you? Don't you miss the way human blood tasted? And they're all like, oh, how was it? Like, you know, you were the last person to feed. And he kind of like gets their blood a boiling, basically, you know, gets them all turned on and tells them, like, you know, about those two people over in the jail who are, you know, just sitting over there primed and ready.
And he also gives them guns.
Well, that's later, right?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, because we find out too that Ethan or Shane has been developing a secret weapon.
Dun dun dun.
And you'll never be able to put it together. He has somehow
I hate
figured out
so bad
how to put wood into bullets.
What?
Petrified wood.
Which immediately kill vampires.
If you shoot him in the heart. It's just
shoot him in the heart.
Steak with bullets.
Which would have been a cool weapon for Van Helsing to have.
Yeah,
God,
totally would have been.
God, I hate this.
Bad.
But
and even
bullets. What do you think?
Yeah.
Wooden bullets.
Yeah.
And that's part of their whole
is an idea somebody could have in the old brain pan.
So that is kind of the catalyst for what's going to happen. You know, they're going to arm these vampires with the wooden projectile guns
to even the odds between them.
Even the odds, because, you know, like I said, the older vampires are more powerful. Yep. And Margulac, he shows up at a certain point and kind of tells all the townspeople, you know, there will be no bleeding of humans. Like, we're past that. Yeah. That they're not going to be doing that shit. and he kind of reinforces the town code to people. People are like, oh, we've got to follow Marjolac.
Right.
So he kind of like in that way gives some of the vampires the reassurance that they got to trust him.
Yeah, he's counter thesis.
I thought when he came up and did his little speech thing, I thought they were going to like JFK him. I really did. I was expecting that because like he's like front and center of the whole town. Like he's in front of everybody, and like there's a shot of him. It's a nice wide shot of just him, just there on the screen by himself, giving us some passionate speech about unifying and doing what's right. And I think he even mentioned something about like gaining. I think he kind of foreshadows the end a little bit where he talks about like regaining forgiveness because he kind of points out all these characters we have in the town about like when I found you, you were crying in a church because you had just killed a child, and I found you feeding on homeless people. He kind of like points out the darker side of being a vampire, I guess.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool, and like he's up there giving that speech, and Shane and Ethan are both in the crowd. And you see him like back, like sinking into the crowd, like they're kind of like, falling back. And I thought for sure there was going to be a shot of like his chest exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bullet. I thought that would have been cool, like a cool way to just kick off the revolution, killing off Marjolac. But they don't.
You got to have that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to have that powerful ending.
Oh yeah.
Really made you think.
It did.
So yeah, there's a lot of. I don't even know where to go from here.
Okay, so let's tie off our plots. We'll start with the most complicated one: the campers that are in the jail cell.
Yeah, the campers. They're in the jail cell directly next to Emmett Walsh. They go to sleep, wake up, they're bitten somehow.
Dun, dun, dun.
While Emmett Walsh is still in the other jail cell, breaking out, but somehow he.
I noticed
stretched his neck through the thing and bit them both while they were asleep.
Maybe he
don't know how it happened.
I don't know.
And basically, in a way, raped these two people.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
not in a way. He literally penetrated their bodies without their permission with his own body
while they
in their sleep.
Yep.
In their sleep.
Yep. But now they're
gave them an STD.
Yeah.
And Emmett Walsh canceled. Now we go to our next, that wraps up that plot.
Yep.
He's canceled. He's never be spoke of again. He's off Twitter. Now we go to our next subplot, which is the white human family.
Yeah.
Yes.
We find out the little girl has been having visions of the revolution.
Yep.
Yeah, that they didn't mention anywhere else until it was relevant.
Yeah. She's having mentions of the revolution. She mentions to some random witch lady who you find out is some sort of voodoo lady or some shit.
I don't remember this.
I just thought she was a creepy vampire lady, to be honest.
She could be a creepy vampire lady. I don't know.
But I know what you mean. She had a very
mystic, like a mystical presence to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she mentions to her, she mentions to Marjolac. Marjolac takes her. She tells Marjolac what she saw. He's like, oh no, there's gonna be a revolution. All the while, Bruce has been watching this whole thing from a skylight. Yeah. Waitress lady shoves him through the thing. He falls down to the floor.
Oh yeah.
He gets up. He pulls a stake. Marjolac is not one bit concerned with this guy.
Not afraid at all.
He kind of disses the Van Helsings. Calls his great grandfather no kook. Couldn't see the bigger picture. All this shit.
Yep. And
then waitress lady, he gives her a nod because she makes like a he's gonna kill him, right?
She's like, I followed him to watch out for your safety.
Yep.
And then he is like, yeah, okay.
And then like he's getting ready to stab Marjolac. He's like coming to him with his stake drawn, and she like makes this like face behind him of like like I don't know, some sort of like face.
No,
he gives her a nod like go ahead, and she rapes Bruce by penetrating him without his consent. She's canceled. She's off Twitter. So now we go to our next fan. Yeah, we go to our next plot, which is of course the vampire revolution. Now these guys, it's a very fiery battle. You got Ethan, who is driving a car with horse stirrups, which is
For
a pretty
some
cool thing.
reason.
And then they engage with the old vampires in the middle of town square.
Yeah, they're standing off.
Yeah, and Buck Flowers, who I mentioned earlier, immediately betrays the vampires.
Yep.
You have a square off with him and the cook guy.
Oh, yeah,
The
that's
vampires
sweaty dude.
kick ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
yeah,
was he
sweaty.
so sweaty?
A lot of sweaty people in this. I don't know.
Vampires
Is
aren't
Moab
supposed to
is Moab
sweat.
hot?
Well, it is, yeah, but
It's a
that doesn't matter. They're
desert,
dead.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, why would dead people sweat? Yeah.
Now, there's
I
a
don't know.
bunch of other characters that we didn't mention that I'll just kind of zoom past. There's scientists
Oh,
who have heroic turns toward the end for some reason.
I know they're just like
Out
badass.
of nowhere. They're
suddenly.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're heroes and we're
Yeah.
defend the city,
Yeah.
the town, or whatever."
We're also vampire
you-
special forces.
Yes,
Apparently.
you also see Emmett Walsh is Superman. He just fucking bursts through walls.
He doesn't
Oh,
burst through walls.
was
He goes
funny.
through them head fucking first.
Yeah, just
fucking
walks
turned
through
around
them.
and
He
Walks
just
through them.
turned around and
And
walked
it's like,
right
why
through
aren't you
it.
doing more of that?
It's like,
Yeah.
how did you get cornered in the first place?
Yeah.
Now, there's an interesting line that when they're getting ready to do the revolution, Ethan or Shane, one of the two, tells the other vampires, the revolution, do not turn into your bat form. You know, he tells them that.
Oh.
And I think I figured out
Got
why.
that. Okay.
Why?
Why?
It's too expensive.
Too expensive.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So that's why he's like, we can't have all you people turn into bats. That would just
Yeah.
be,
Too much.
you know, that'd be illogical. So we have a big Alamo-esque standoff
Yep.
at the end here where Marjolac and the good vampires, who all these people who have been turned into vampires within the last few minutes, are just suddenly like on board. Let's
Yeah.
fight. Let's save our
Fight for
species.
our cause. Yeah.
Bruce goes from I gotta kill vampires to just fully accepting like I'm a vampire now.
Yep.
I'm with you. There's like nothing that happens here. It's
There's just
gunfighty.
fighting,
It's like old
fighting.
spaghetti western, like clutching your chest and falling down stuff.
It's really hard to
Yeah.
folloll.
It's very hard to
It's
follow.
so hard to follow.
The marmalade vampires have like hand crossbows.
Yeah.
That literally
And
go
then-
pew.
That was the neatest part of all this.
And then we get our big finale,
Yes.
which is pretty epic.
the humans. They
Now the only thing Bruce contributes to this story is giving David a bottle of holy water
Oh yeah, that's right.
that he uses to splash on Ethan.
Ethan
Shane?
the back of
Shane?
Shane's head.
Yeah,
They
Shane
get
that
into
melts
it.
him
Yeah.
and he shoots him in the chest.
Yeah.
That kills Ethan
That wraps up their
or Shane.
stupid plot.
Who
Chevron.
cares?
Yeah.
And then there was the part that I was confused at until the end, which it still didn't make any sense, but I realized why he was doing it. They just go down and start wrecking Marjolac's furniture.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, what the fuck this
That
guy
confused
do?
me for a minute.
I was very confused. Like he's
They're
going
making,
like kicking
they're making
chairs.
steaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was building a
It's crazy.
giant cross.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was for. Wasn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
that-
No, I
that is what they
didn't
were-
get that at
But
all.
Did we?
thought
Yeah.
the mistakes that they were smashing the furniture up for, but it was. You're right. That probably was for the giant cross.
Yeah,
I
so
guess I
the
forgot.
ending it's down to the bad vampires break into the gates of Marjolac's mansion.
Yeah.
It's a square off. You got Marjolac, you got Ethan, mano a mano,
Yeah.
Quaker Oats guy, David Carradine, 1-on-1, and they decide they're going to have an old school duel
Yep.
because of Western.
It's
They use some.
just-
They use some Western.
The
music.
the film finally remembered that it was supposed to be a western.
Yep.
Yeah,
The fact that there are people standing behind them as they're trying to do this duel, like, what you doing over there?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought now this is where we have the big twist because when Bruce is on screen before he gets turned into a vampire, time someone calls him Marge, like he's like, say his name. Why aren't you saying his name? So like you
Oh,
obviously
yeah,
know
that's
what's
right.
coming.
Yeah. I forgot about
You knew
that.
or you knew something was up because I had for a moment I thought there was there was a twist I thought was going to happen that didn't. You have an old school duel. Marjolac is quick to the draw, shoots Ethan, and he dies very slow for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then
Abnormally slow compared to everybody else because
Yep.
he's the bad guy.
he does his little villain monologue thing, and then a giant cross is erected atop Marjolac's mansion, and he fucking explodes. And all the other bad vampires fucking explode.
Yep.
And Margelac turns around, he sees the cross, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one by
Because-
one, the good vampires realize they're not bursting into flames or some shit.
Yeah. And you know
And-
why?
Yeah. Why? Because some chapped ass monkey with a writing utensil decided that I'm going to very lightly sprinkle some allegory through here and then ass fuck you with it at the end. Are you seriously telling
they've
me?
been forgiven.
Yeah,
They've
are you
been
telling me
forgiven.
that when you name the town Purgatory, you literally mean these motherfuckers' souls are hovering between heaven and hell? And at the very end, you're going to bring God into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bastards.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, set it up with Purgatory. It's where you go.
Man.
Oh, go
Have you ever
fuck
seen
yourself.
Forgiven?
Set it up with Purgatory.
Man, have you ever watched Purgatory? The
movie?
Western?
No.
Oh man. You would like that. You and Eric both would like that. It was a TNT like made for TV movie back in the 90s.
Oh my God.
So good. Had Randy Quaid, Michael Biehn.
We don't use that word the same.
It was a
Good.
You would enjoy it. You would enjoy it. I
Don't
think.
you-
I know Eric would. Eric would like it.
Would I?
I love. I used to rent it when I was a kid. It's a Western. I used to fucking rent that movie like weekly. My dad take me to the video store. I'd fucking rent it all the time. Loved it. Cool ass concept. Also had Marky Mark's brother in it. The new kid on the block.
New kid on the
Had him in
block.
it. Donnie had Donnie in it. But anyways, before all that happened with the cross, you forgot the big reveal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he tell Margelac he's watching
That's the twist.
Ethan die, and he says,
Oh,
"You have been killed by the greatest vampire to ever walk."
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
hashtag not mine.
Dracula.
This is the most pussified version of Dracula.
It's so bad.
For some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, I thought he was going to be Billy the Kid. I don't know why. For some popped in my head. I was like,
Because you
Is he Billy the
remembered
Kid?
you remembered this movie was a Western more than it did.
yeah. For some reason, I was like, they had a duel.
Yeah.
I remember like something. I remember watching something a while back. I don't know what it was. There was some movie or some like show I watched where Billy the Kid was a vampire.
Oh, it
Man,
was Blood Rain.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
it was.
we should watch that. That's
No.
so fun. Why?
Oh my
No.
God, those movies are terrible.
Yeah, you big Uwe Boll fan?
Oh,
No,
what?
these movies are. That's the name
Yeah,
of the director,
they're
and he's
awful.
famous for making like really terrible movies.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I remember that. I must have remembered that because for some reason I thought that was going to be like the twist. I don't know why. I was like,
Man, they both agreed that was a bad movie.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Sitting
me and
over here and
Ben-
Eric's
me and
looking at me
Ben
and I'm like, I'm sorry.
have came together. It's like that
Yeah.
Pepsi commercial with
I'm
the ginger girl in it.
so sorry.
And
Those movies are terrible.
yeah, they're pretty bad. Right on,
Just
Ben.
surprised that
Right
they
on.
agree on
That's
something.
gotta be a
That's
bad
crazy.
fucking movie.
Wow.
Like,
You know,
Mark
Jesus.
you know-
that in the annals.
There's hope for you yet, Ben.
You know what's sad is I actually like the guy that got to play Billy the Kid. Yes,
I do
I'm
too.
ignoring
I
that
do too.
comment. you
Zach
mu-
Ward. Zach Ward. I like him too. He's the bully from Christmas Story.
Christmas Story. He was also miscast, but I still like seeing him Nikolai in the second Resident Evil
Yep.
movie.
In the second, that was cool. I wish
He's
there was
nothing
more
like
story.
Nikolai from the games whatsoever, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It's nice
He
to
is
see
a good
them get
actor.
along.
He was the older brother in Freddy vs. Jason.
yeah,
Yeah.
criminally underused in that movie.
So
Yeah.
nice when the boys get along.
Cult of Ward coming next. I don't know.
No, Russell, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I won't take it from
It's
you.
the only thing Ben's putting up with this shit for.
That's goddamn right.
But
Fucking quality.
yeah. So it blew my mind. It blew us all our minds. Right? Nobody saw it coming. Margelac
No.
is Dracula.
I mean, I didn't see it coming because I didn't care enough to look forward.
but
It's
yeah.
genius.
It was.
Yep.
It's something.
Yep. Had no
Yeah.
idea who Campbell was talking. about.
Rearrange the letters, turn him upside down. It makes
Yep.
perfect sense.
Yep. Because there was. Wait.
Was there there wasn't a W in Dracula?
No,
There's
the upside down's vampire fangs.
Oh, God.
That's what it means. And M upside down equals vampire fangs.
I don't know.
You gotta think. You gotta think about this kind of stuff.
I try not to.
Read between the lines.
Tyler, I want you to read between my fucking lines right now. Okay.
Oh my god.
But
Hearing
Jesus.
Tyler talk about this movie is way more entertaining than the movie itself.
You don't need to watch the movie.
but mercifully,
It ends.
we have been forgiven because the movie is over.
Oh.
And they have been forgiven.
And he looks up at the cross in the sun, and he's got this tear flowing. I'm like, David, stop it! Now you're just
Yeah.
embarrassing yourself.
Yeah, not the most embarrassing thing he's done, but one of them.
Get me out of here.
There was such a missed opportunity, though, because there is actually some, and I mean, maybe it's because the bar was just so low at that point, but there is just some really good dialogue between Bruce and I forget his name.
Dracula.
Martial art.
Yeah, Margelac.
Yeah, that was one of the few
good.
scenes I liked. It's just with when you finally got to see Bruce and David Carradine like interact, and it's this powerful vampire and a descendant of Van Helsing. You think for a second they might do something cool here.
But they don't.
Of course not.
Nope.
Why did you guys think they would?
Yeah, he gets now. I will say you did get one of the cooler parts of where Bruce gets bit by the vampire chick. He does do some pretty cool, like funny shit with his face and stuff. Only cool Bruce thing you get out of the whole movie.
It's
is him
not
doing
cool.
That.
It's
Goofy.
It's
It's
funny.
silly.
It's uncomfortable.
And if this had been a
It's the whole
slapstick,
Bruce
it would have been great.
cartoony shit. Yeah,
It's like horrific, funny,
And,
and,
he-
orgasmic all in the same
he's
way.
kind of like he's like having this orgasmic moment. Yeah, I thought it was pretty silly. I like that, but that was like the only like Bruce thing we got at. But let's talk about that in our next segment. Let's talk about the quality of Campbell.
Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Quality of Campbell here on this the final Cultober edition of Cult of Campbell. Sundown, the Vampire Retreat. We just broke it down as best we could for
As
this
best we could.
this 5 movie in one combo you get here.
Yeah, it's like that movie pack that you buy on discount, only it's just one disc.
They just
Yeah, it's
all
like
together.
it's like you go to Walmart, you're rifling through the $5 bin, you find that 10 horror movie value pack. Can't beat that, right?
Yeah.
And instead of watching them one by one, you decide to cut corners and you just hook up 10 TVs and you put all 10 discs in,
Yep.
and you just melt. And that's what you do when you watch Sundown. Is you get to see 3 movies with potential get buried amongst 5 other movies that have
No potential.
zero
Nothing.
interest whatsoever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then cram in a couple of nothing scenes and
Yeah, and
Mix it all
you
together.
hit it with a splash of David Carradine, a sprinkle of Bruce Campbell, and you get yourself Sundown, the Vampire Retreat.
there you go. Yeah.
So we've harped on it enough. I mean, let's just talk about the quality of Campbell. Bruce, I think we can all agree, did not need to be in this movie.
No.
Nope.
No.
And if he was going to be in it, I mean, they did not utilize him enough because like I said, there's moments where you like. He's been introduced already, but he pops back up, and you're reminded like Bruce Campbell's in this movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
You
oh,
totally
hi.
forgot about him. He either
Yeah. Oh,
didn't-
hey, Bruce.
Yeah.
And
He
he
either-
only has a couple little moments that are memorable, and that's memorable by way of Sundown, which is not at all. But the only thing I can think of is the orgasmic thing he has when he gets bit by the vampire, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that he does of note.
Yeah, he either should have been in more of it or not in it at all. They
A waste of
made no
Bruce and a
sense.
waste of a character.
He came in the middle of this, like first act's already done.
Yeah.
Well before
Yeah.
he shows up,
Mhm.
we're into the second act by the time he does. I even said it when I was watching this movie. It's like, son of a bitch. We're in the second act,
Yep.
and we're just now seeing him.
Mhm.
That means,
Yeah.
I've heard of this thing called a 4-act movie. And I
Yeah.
haven't looked into that much, but it doesn't sound good. And I think that's kind of what we ran into here. It's
I think this is
basically
a
like
16
extra
act
shit.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But
right.
the
Movie
quality
ended more-
Campbell, Bailey, what's your quality Campbell rating?
Oh, not good. I did. There's not enough of him in it. He truly did not need to be in it. I struggle to think of moments where he is in it, and it's a waste. Honestly, it was such a waste.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, not groovy. Everything she said, like if you want him doing slapstick, if you want him doing physical comedy, if you want him doing like any of this stuff, there's better examples, there's better movies. Yeah, pass. There's nothing for me here.
Yeah. So Bailey, that was not groovy, by the way, right?
That was a not groovy.
So 2 not groovies. So Eric.
Yeah. Okay. So I always try to insist like the amount of time he's in it shouldn't really play into, at least it doesn't in whether or not I'll rate it groovy or not. But like, is that time enough to in any way elevate this movie or be on? It's even on par. I don't know. It did nothing for the movie, so just there wasn't anything there. No, not groovy. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to save this movie.
No. I mean, I can't really say much that hasn't already been said. You know, I had hoped. Never seen this movie. I'd seen pictures. And I watched a trailer, and I've seen clips online.
Yeah.
I had hoped this was going to be one of those hidden gems that we found a couple of in Cult of Campbell.
Sometimes people bury gems, and sometimes they just bury their dookie.
Yep. Yeah. Cause I just hoped. I was like, it looked very like Army of Darkness-esque from the trailers I watched. I was like, this might be a fun, like, goofy movie, you know, kind of like, you know, a silly horror comedy, Western kind of thing. And then there was none of that. It was a lot of potential that just peters out throughout the entire movie. Like, it starts off, and it's like, as the movie continues, you're just like more and more uninterested and more confused and exhausted from the amount of different subplots and story arcs that are weaving in and out that ultimately do nothing for the movie. I mean, it ends with this random ass like salvation allegory.
Yeah.
That comes
Not
out
even
nowhere.
allegory, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Light from the sky.
Yeah, this big shining cross hanging above these the vampires' heads. Yeah, just that's it. I mean, it was
not earned at
good.
all.
No,
Just
not
it's
earned.
sad because there's so much potential in this.
Yeah.
Like,
it was too crowded out with all the other stuff if they were going for that.
yeah. Now there's like this, like, starting out, I was very entertained. You know, I'd messaged you guys maturely. This was a really fun movie because it started out really fun.
Yeah.
And there's like this time period on this where there's these really oddball, like dark kind of comedy indie movies. There's this movie called Nothing to Lose or Nothing But Trouble with Dan Aykroyd, the only movie Dan Aykroyd ever directed.
Huh.
It's fantastic. It's just like it's kind of a similar thing in this where it's just like oddball dark comedy that kind of eats itself alive, but it's way more entertaining than this. There's a movie called Freaked that's written and directed by Alex Winter, who plays I always get mixed up, Bill or Ted, not Keanu Reeves, in Bill or Ted, which is like another movie that's just fantastic, and it's just like dark comedy and it's super out there and it's like does its own thing. And that's why I'd hoped for this movie was when I first started watching it, and it was not. It was like, oh man, it has so much potential and just crashes and burns right before your eyes.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, not groovy for me, and I think that squares it up. But Sundown just it's not groovy. It's so much potential. It gets squandered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely a big waste in pages.
Yep.
Yeah. But hey, it made for an entertaining episode, I think. So at least it's that.
Yeah. I got some laughs, that's for sure.
Yeah. So this wraps up Cultober. Cult of Campbell is going back in hibernation. It'll come back for a very Cult Talk Net Christmas 2 here in December.
Yay.
But this does it for our big Halloween celebration of Cultober. Also today dropping is our big mega-sized episode, the Beetlejuice Watch Along, featuring the entire Cult Talk Net crew, which I think is a first for us to have at least this many people on. I mean, there were 6 of us.
There was a lot.
No, there was 8 because Bailey and Evan are also, or not Bailey, but Anna and Evan are also on it. So I mean, there's 8 people in that episode. It's jam packed. We talk about the movie, we watch the movie, and then we review the movie. It's gigantic. So if you don't have anything better to do on Halloween, put it on while you're having your Halloween party. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And it's of course on Beetlejuice. But we hope you guys have enjoyed this celebration here of Cultober 2.
And hopefully you'll join us for number 3.
Yeah, Cultober 3. Me and Mike are actually already planning shit for that. So I mean, it's
exciting.
It's a big thing coming. We're very excited for that. Just stick around because of course we got more content coming. We got all the podcasts going on right now. Cult of Lore every other Tuesday, or no, every other
Thursday.
Thursday.
The other one that starts with a T.
Yeah. You have Cult Talk Conspiracy every other Tuesday, and more to come as we continue to put out content for Cult Talk Net and grow. You can follow all this on Cult Talk Net, at Cult Talk Net, across Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that good shit. But yeah, I think until then, I think that pretty much does it. I mean, happy Halloween, happy Cultober. Thank you for joining us. I've been Ty.
I've been Eric. Happy Halloween.
I've been Bailey. Spooky time.
I'm Ben.
And
That's
as
all I have to
always-
say about that.
And as always,
Stay
groovy.
Hail to the king, baby.
That's it? That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.